contracts solitaris. So these are keeping track on the heart. What's going on? The vagus is going back and forth, keeping it ready, but it's not working. Tier 2, I need to pay attention to my environment. If it's dangerous, then if I determine it's dangerous, right away going to activate the heart. Trigeminal, sensory components of the trigeminal nerve provide primary sensory into the nucleus ambiguous. So those afferents are going to go from trigeminal into the nucleus ambiguous. That's also going to communicate with the vagus nerve to determine what happens from there. Interventions that provide sucking opportunities, oral stimulation, facial movement, provides regulation challenges and may be beneficial. So the trigeminal nerve ready to do its thing, facial nerve ready to do its thing. If the environment is time to feed, then it goes online and it's beneficial. In contrast, interventions that trigger dorsal motor activity might be dangerous. Shifting a baby around, shaking a baby, starting to elicit baroreceptors. This is going to give a heart rate change to the baby's blood pressure, not healthy. In the low-risk infant, this intervention uses negative feedback to maintain central blood pressure. In the high-risk infant, with a depressed nucleus ambiguous, posture shifts might result in massive bradycardia and loss of consciousness, similar to syncope, which is passing out, observed in adults. A few more slides. Ingestive vagal reflex. To ingest food properly, a newborn must coordinate striated muscles in the face, number 7, with sucking. Sucking is going to involve tongue usage, number 12, swallowing, and breathing. So it requires coordination of cranial nerves to the brainstem through the myelinated vagal regulation of the bronchi and heart. As the infant matures, these special efferent pathways are recruited by corticobulbar pathways, meaning they're not going down to the anterior horn in your spinal cord, they're staying right up here on the brainstem so they can respond fast. Face-heart connection provides necessary elements for integrated social engagement. This is some research here. I noted the people that did the research, they provided theories, they provided support for the idea that the vagus is lateralized. It's not the same on the left side as the right side of the brain. Positive emotion, they said, was associated with the left hemisphere, maybe gets interested in something. They said negative emotion was associated with the right hemisphere, disgust or distress. Disgust or distress is going to go to the social engagement. Do I do something? Do I stay and wait longer and evaluate? Right hemisphere regulates negative emotions, fight or flight, and some research there. Left hemisphere was less conclusive. And somewhere in the middle of this book, and I found this in a lot of books, Borges says something that A.T. Still said. They come to the same truth. Borges said, unlike the architectural dictum that form follows function, the function of the nervous system is derivative of its structure, meaning it's the structure that determines what's going to happen. So again, this goes back to the relationship between structure and function. If something's built a certain way, it must have been that way because there was a needed function. It's another way of saying what A.T. Still said a long time ago. The flexibility and the variability of the autonomic nervous system function is totally dependent on the structure. In other words, you couldn't have that social engagement system without a myelinated vagus. And I just find that fascinating. Like 3 more slides. So this, he makes it too simple. I don't agree with this, but he makes it too simple. So his clinical model, as he looks at it, is if people are hypotense, or they have vasovagal syncope, the vagus is weak, fibromyalgia complaints, this is all unmyelinated vagus problems. Maybe their behavior is they immobilize, they shut down, they dissociate, and they're at risk of suicide. This is all way too simplified for me. He says sympathetic problems would result in hyperacusis, meaning people that are really sensitive to a little bit of sound, they get uncomfortable with it. Hypertension, gut problems, anxiety, drug abuse. Their behaviors, fight or flight, hypervigilant, hyperarousal, avoidant, oppositional behaviors, social withdrawal. Too convenient to box people in this way. Myelinated vagus problems, They have optimal regulation, social communication, and they can learn well. He makes a note about allostatic load, which has become a popular term. Allostatic load is your stress load. Okay, so chronic stress or your stress state, your allostatic state, as a physiological response is adaptive. Okay, you adapt in the short term, it can be damaging if you're having to adapt over long periods of time. You're not in stress anymore, but you're still responding to that stress response because the allostatic load has been too high. You're going to begin to break down. The cost of adaptation or maladaptation is what he calls an allostatic load. Vagal nerve and autism. They found some interesting thoughts about this. Behaviorally, one of the most important strategies for vagal stimulation is to stimulate baroreceptors that regulate blood pressure. They're theorizing that a lot of autistic kids do this rocking behavior. The same ones that do the rocking behavior also do the head banging behavior. And just for the record, I've treated a lot of autistic kids. I've had a few miracles happen in there and a few minor miracles. One thing I'm pretty consistent as, I'll get them to stop the head banging. I do the anti-head banging technique that I showed you. So before you ask me, what do you do for that? I do what you already know, but whatever. With what I've done, most of them stop their head banging, or the stimming that they do is another version of stimming. Here he's saying that rocking and swinging, he's theorizing that changing the head position is doing something to stimulate the baroreceptors that aren't functioning properly. He suggests that frequently observed rocking and swinging in autistic individuals may be a behavioral strategy to stimulate and regulate the vagal system that's not working right. John Upledger said that the kids that are banging their heads were trying to relieve cranial stresses. So they're all just theories, interesting theories. PDT, middle ear, and autism. The theory that the defective vagal brake in autism manifests as a missing behavioral switch. Well, they got a lot of things that are missing in autism. I don't think we can make it that simple. Studies have demonstrated neuroregulation of middle ear muscles as a necessary mechanism to extract human voice from loud, low-frequency background noise. Low frequencies go through your bony conduction, and higher frequencies are going through the tympanic membrane. So they're trying to, by using this stapedius muscle, trying to shut out the rumbling lower noises so we can pay attention to voice. They're suggesting here that kids that have problems with myelinated vagus, maybe that's why they have language delays, learning disabilities, and so forth. Autism now is a big spectrum. It's such an overused word. I'm getting really annoyed with it. Anybody who acts weird at all, which is at least half of you, people will say, I think he's on the spectrum. And that means one thing. You're on the spectrum of autism. Because we either don't like you, we think you're weird, or you're not paying attention. No, there's things I would call autism, or global developmental delay, but not everybody I don't like or socially awkward a little bit. I noticed this stuff, I'm hearing this. We watched the show 90 Day Fiancé. You know this one? It's where they get a K-1 visa to come to America from some other country. They have 90 days to get married. It's a reality show. So people come from all over the world. And if the guy's acting weird, my wife will go, I think he's on the spectrum. I'm like, no, he's just weird. Anyway, relevant muscles are the tensor tympani, stapedius. These pull tension on the drum, and they're coming from cranial nerve 5 and from 7 off of a branch of chordae tympani. Very last slide. How music and prosody. Prosody is your cadence, how you're talking, the tone of your voice. Sound in the environment impinges on the eardrum and is transduced from the eardrum to the inner ear through the ossicles of the ear. When you pull the stapedius and the tensor tympani, the ossicular chain becomes rigid. It dampens the amplitude of the background rumble sounds so that I can hear sounds that animals are making or that you're making. And then I can evaluate whether or not I'm in danger or not. The end. Now you can wake up, Laura. Okay, I have one more topic to do for you, and I don't think you'll fall asleep. It's short. It's short, and it'll be entertaining. There'll be prizes, and I'm going to do 2 people for demonstration for chakras. So let's take a break because I need to drink water. Let's take a break for 5 minutes, which in India means 10 minutes.